Welcome to Game Night. I'm Trish, this is Jackson, this is Keith, and we're here to tell you our top 10 games. But first, we're going to let you know a few of our honorable mentions that didn't quite make it into our top 10.
Which is Splendor.
Splendor is a quick, easy game. We like to play this with our friends that are not big into gaming.
The thing I like about it is there's actually enough depth that if you really do like strategy in board games, you can actually hit that depth in strategy. So it's a great one, check it out.
Next one.
The next one is Isle of Skye.
So Isle of Skye is one of my favorite games. It didn't quite make it into the top 10, but the thing I love about it is it's a tile building game, which I love, and it also has a little bit more depth to it where there's a bit of bidding, a bit of trading.
So the thing I like about Isle of Skye is that it's kind of like Carcassonne if you were to then put your tiles up for sale and you had to sell your tiles to other players, but if you bid them too high, you got to buy all your overpriced tiles back. So if that sounds somewhat interesting, check out Isle of Skye.
The next thing on the list is Terraforming Mars Ares Edition.
So Terraforming Mars, if you know, is a fairly complex board game to set up, and the rules are a little bit complicated. It's a tableau building board game, so it's really fun. You can get some cool little synergies with cards and things that you buy. And basically what you're doing is you're terraforming Mars, so that's cool in itself. The card game, however, kind of takes all the bad parts of the board game, the extra complexity that's not really necessarily needed, and it boils it down in a super quick setup card game. And I have to say that I actually enjoy the Ares Expedition card game more than the board game itself. What do you guys think?
I completely agree.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Completely
So,
agree.
if you like Terraforming Mars, or if you just want something that's fairly quick to set up, it's in a small box you can take to the cottage or something like that, check out Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition.
Next up on our list is Wingspan.
Okay, so everyone's probably heard of Wingspan. It's a very hyped up game. It was on some of our top 10 lists, but not all of them. I had it rated lower than other people because one thing I don't like is that the shop is really small, so I feel like I can't get into my strategy that much. I'm kind of just forced to buy whatever's available, and it might not fit with my strategy. Trish loves it, so what do you think about it?
I actually love the look of the game. That aspect doesn't bother me at all. The artwork is incredible. The pieces are good quality. I love playing it, and it's fun to play. Like, really fun.
What do you think?
I think it's a simple game, but you can also focus on strategy, like building your board out. I think it's a really good game.
Our next honorable mention, our last honorable mention,
Is Tiny Towns.
Okay, so Tiny Town is like a puzzle builder. The thing I really like about this one is that it's really, really quick to explain, and then you can just start playing and learn it as you go. Jackson always beats us, so what do you
I
think?
love this game. There's so much strategy in it, but there's also some parts of the game where it can be very frustrating if people are getting different resources than you. It's a good game. I love puzzle games, and it takes off this.
because you're good at them and you
Yeah.
beat us.
Definitely a great game. Check out Tiny Towns. It's always a good night when we play Tiny Towns.
All right, so let's get into our actual top 10.
Okay, so how we set this top 10 up is I actually just made an Excel spreadsheet, and we had roughly 30 games that we kind of narrowed our collection down to our favorites, and then we all ranked them from 1 to 30. And the average score, that was what the top 10 was. Now, in the future, we're going to do deep dives on all these games, like a detailed review. We'll do a kind of Cole's Notes version here, but we're going to talk about things like the complexity of the game, the price of the game, the value for money, how much replayability is in there. One category I really like that we thought of is like wow moments. So those moments where the whole board game kind of like everyone around it kind of explodes and laughs, and you create this really epic moment. And as well, how easy they are to teach. And we also want to talk about for each game who this game's best for. So that way, no matter what your play group is, you can kind of find the game in this top 10 list that best suits you. Okay, so number 10 is El Dorado. This is a bit of an older game. It's a deck builder, but also kind of with a twist. So what do you think?
Yeah, I really like it. It's like a deck builder, but then instead of just having your deck and then laying out cards to beat your opponents, you use your cards to go through this very hard course, and like it's just a different type of deck building game. So if you like deck building games, I think you'll like this one.
Yeah, and the thing I like about it is we can play this with basically anyone who comes to our house because it's easy to learn, easy to teach. And it doesn't take very much time, so it's not like you have to sit there for a half hour with people who aren't really into gaming. This is great for that. So if you have anyone that you just want to pull out a quick game, El Dorado's a great game for that.
Because it's a bit older, it usually you can find it pretty cheap. We got this one for like $29, and it actually has quite a few expansions on it as well. They kind of turn it into a different game, but still really good. But I think we got this for $30. For $30, we've played this so many times, and
Yeah, for
at one
sure.
point I actually had this at number 2 on my top 10 list because I love deck building.
And we're
So,
like, what? Number 2?
Yeah.
It is good, but it's not number 2.
yeah. So check out El Dorado. Okay, number 9 is Everdell. So this is actually a beautiful game, and it is a worker placement game that's got this gorgeous tree. It's just a game that looks amazing on the table.
I think that's what I like about it most. When we were in the game store, Keith picked this up and said, oh my goodness, this game Everdell, and I looked at it and thought I have to have it. And that's exactly how I feel when I'm playing it. I love it. The cards are beautiful. The pieces are so nice looking. It's such a nice game to play. And it does have some fun aspects.
Yeah, I agree. It is a beautiful game. I feel like it has so much replay, and it's definitely one of my favorite games.
And looking forward to playing some of the expansions that are coming out.
Okay, up next, number 8 is Above and Below. It's not really a worker placement game, but you have a set number of workers that you send out to collect money, and then you build different buildings both above ground and below ground. And there's this really cool cave exploration aspect that's like one of those old choose your own adventure books.
I like this game because it has like a strategy building type, but then also deep below you have this storytelling that can actually change the game in one move. So it's like you have to pick away. I like that there's special bonuses and rewards that you get from choosing one over another.
And the thing I like about the game is honestly just watching his face play it. It's such a fun game to watch him be excited when he gets that special reward.
Yeah,
So
there's actually workers that you can only get in the story mode. So
Yeah,
it's kind of fun. We're always looking, are we going to get the robot man on this adventure? Like, it's kind of fun.
This had to be in my top 10 because I just have so much fun playing it with them both. Like, it's a good game.
Okay, number 7 was actually the number 1 on my top 10 list. This is my absolute favorite game. I'm a big fan of deck builders. I love the strategy aspect of that. This is actually a cooperative game, which is interesting because I don't typically like cooperative games. But the thing that I really like about this deck builder is that in other deck builders, instead of buying cards and then, at some point you're going to switch from buying engine pieces to kind of buying points to win the game. In this one, you're trying to balance fighting a boss, and the boss is doing stuff to you constantly, and then you have to buy cards to try to fight him, but at the same time make your deck stronger so you can buy more cards. It strikes a perfect balance of a very difficult game, a really fun game. I'm going to stop talking about this game because I love Aeon's End.
I like Aeon's End. I did not have it in my top 10. I don't like cooperative games. But out of all the cooperative games I've played, I definitely would say that this is one of the better ones. So I do enjoy playing it, but I really don't think I like cooperative games. But this is a really good game, and I like playing it.
She likes to crush people.
I like to win. I feel like sometimes in cooperative games, someone in our group tends to take over the actual team and lead us.
Jackson does. What do you think of it?
I really enjoy this game. It was indeed on my top 10 list, and I love the cooperative part of it.
And that's why it made it into the top 10.
Jackson and I carrying it. Check out Aeon's End. Okay, number 6 is probably another game that everyone's heard of, Root. So, Root is a really, really tough one for me to rate because I actually love this game. I find it really, really fun. This is a board game where it's called an asymmetrical board game. So it's a board game where each person that's playing is playing a different faction, and the different factions actually play a completely different game in and of themselves. The thing that I don't like about Root is that it takes forever to learn the game and then to teach the game to somebody. Not only do you have to explain the rules of Root, but then you have to then explain the rules of each of their factions to them. This can lead to like an hour-long explanation, Without that, this game is fantastic. With it, this one actually slid just outside of my personal top 8. 10. Top 10.
Top 10. This actually was in my top 10, and the reason is because every time I've played, I've lost. But I have enjoyed playing it because each time I'm getting better and better, and I can't help it, but the feel of the game and the board looks so nice that I really enjoy playing it. And even though I'm not doing great, every time I play, those cats, man, I can't seem to win with the cats. So I've got to try to play the cats again.
What do you think?
I love this game. This was my number 1 game.
This was your number 1.
I love how there's different factions, and each faction is doing a separate thing, but at the end of the game, it is kind of frustrating where two factions have to team up on another just so that that faction does not just wipe the dirt with them.
I think that's my other bone that I would pick with this game, is that you can play a perfect game and the players playing the game will actually all determine the winner. So it's called kind of king making, and this game has it really bad, where everyone starts talking, if we don't stop Jackson and the Erie really quick, he's going to take over. So then we all smash him, and then, he's so far behind that then Trish loses and I win. You haven't won yet?
Yeah, I haven't won yet.
How can you hate on that? Like, I just it's.
But
it's
look
such,
how
such
nice
a cute
it
art.
looks, and the cards are so nice.
Now,
and like,
you
game's
might not have
amazing.
won yet because you get ahead and then we're all like have to jump on you to stop winning,
Because
right?
you play the cats
my cats are everywhere, and all of
Yeah.
a sudden they're all closing in on me, and my cats are getting
The
killed.
cats are eradicated.
Great game.
So anyways,
definitely buy it.
This is actually quite a good game. I didn't have it on my top 10. He had it number 1.
But as you can see, we have a lot to say about it.
Yeah,
Best game.
fantastic game.
And he's trying to cut us off, so we can't say much more.
The little wooden guys are actually really funny. I really like them. Okay, we're into the top 5 with Galaxy Trucker. Jackson, take this one away because you love this game.
I love this game. It's like a tile building. You have to build your ship, and then you have to go through this honestly, sometimes it's actually unwinnable. There's meteors coming from all directions. There's a blast from pirates. It's so fun. It's like a timer game. So it's so funny to see how they do under stress when I put the time, and then they have 30 seconds to build the ship, and the time just started.
So this game actually has 2 phases. In the first phase, you build your ship, and in the second phase, you take that ship and then you fly on a mission. Where, as Jackson says, you get hit by meteors and pirates and smugglers and epidemics and plagues and open space. The fun thing is that you get to watch everyone build the ship, and then you get to watch the mission destroy the ship. And there's been some, when we're talking about wow moments in games where the whole table starts laughing, this might be maybe the best game that we have for that, because someone will make this beautiful looking ship, and then you'll get a series of a meteor explosion right down the middle, and then a sabotage that blows the whole ship apart. Parts fall off into space, and just the person gets so mad. It's really fun.
Or the best part is when you think you built a great ship, and the person next to you, their ship looks terrible, so you crack up laughing, and you're laughing at their ship. And then all of a sudden, on the very first card of the mission, you realize that you don't have any batteries, and you have no engines, and no guns.
That's a true story.
True story.
And now I'm out. Now I'm laughing at nobody but myself.
So this is a fantastic game. It's a great game for kids. We actually went up to my parents' cottage and we brought this with some friends, some long-term friends who aren't really board gamers. They adored this game. Mm-hmm. So if you know somebody that isn't a huge board gamer and they want a game that's fun, at the end of the game they said, "Wow, that was not what I was expecting when you said we'd play board games." This is definitely a game to bring. It's fun personified. Check out Galaxy Trucker.
And a little frustrating.
Frustrating. Okay, number 4 is Mystic Vale.
This was my number 1. My number 1 game. We actually just got this. I think we've had it for maybe 3 weeks, and that's all I want to play. Guys, let's play Mystic Vale. Let's play Mystic Vale. Let's play Mystic Vale. It is so much fun. I think I like it because I really like deck building, and that's exactly what this is. It's a deck building game, but it has a different aspect to it than, say, my other favorite, which is Dominion. This one, it has cards that you basically can add a card to the card to make it even a better card. So you have your deck, and you're basically just making that deck better with these transparent cards that you fit into your sleeves. It's fantastic. It's basically make your deck as best you can, gather points, and whenever the points are gone, you add up all your points, and whoever wins the game. But deck building, it's an amazing deck builder game.
It's simple to explain too. What do you think? So you actually had this one a little lower.
I did not have this on my top 10. I'm not.
Why?
Personally,
Why,
I could say the
Jackson?
same for other games. Personally, I'm not that much of a fan of card building, like deck building games.
So we just need to play it more.
I'm more. We play it too much. I'm a fan of like strategy and like puzzle games. I think more. So I don't know. I just feel like it definitely is a good game, worth the buy. But I don't think. I don't like it as much as them.
Worth the buy 100%. It is definitely going to be my favorite game for a very long time.
Okay, number 3 is probably the heaviest game on like both in weight and complexity is Terra Mystica. So Terra Mystica is kind of a territory control game, kind of like Risk, but not really like Risk, where you start out with a map, and in order to expand, you have to terraform the squares. The thing that I really like about it is that there's 14 different races, I believe. They all play very differently. The game itself can be really frustrating to explain because there's so many different things that you have to explain before you start playing. Some games you can explain just enough, play a game, and learn as you go. This one, you really need to know all the things that are in the game in order to start playing. We had a big board game night, and we had 2 Terra Mysticas going. We had like 12 or 14 people here, and it took a good solid hour to explain, and I was really trying to explain it quickly.
Just one more thing. Just one more thing.
Yeah, I promise, one more thing. But you have to explain it to go. Jackson and I have this rated extremely high.
I have this rated.
What do you
2.
think?
I like it. Like Root and Terra Mystica are my top 2, and it's kind of similar to Root, where there's 14 different races, and you're kind of doing your own thing, but you're also not, because you're all trying to expand, but you all expand in different ways. It's a really neat game.
Now, I do like this game. I do enjoy playing it. As much as Keith says it's hard to teach, I feel like once you have it, the complexity isn't that hard. So once you know the game, once you know how to play it, I feel like it's a very simple game now for us to all play together. It's just there's so many aspects to the game that you need to make sure you tell everyone about every detail of the game. But once you learn it, I feel like it's easy to play. Like
This is also a game that is played quite competitively. The depth is such that there's world championships of Terra Mystica, and they're fascinating. And even some of the best players in the world actually disagree with what the best strategy is. To me, that is a very, very deep and complex game, and I love that in games. So definitely check out Terra Mystica if you want a very heavy game that has a ton of replayability. Might be a little expensive to get into, and is definitely best for a group of players who really want to get into a deep game. It's not for new people, but if you do have a play group that likes these complicated games, this might be one of the better ones that you can get into.
we actually ended up getting this game used, so we ended up getting a pretty good price for it. But I was at a game store the other day, and I think it was selling for around the $80 mark.
Dominion. Okay, everyone knows Dominion. We were considering not putting this on this list because this is really one of the games that transformed board games. It'd be like putting Catan on the list. The thing with Dominion is we have so many expansions of this game.
We have every expansion.
Yeah, literally every expansion, like 14 expansions or something. And the amount of replayability that Dominion offers when you have those expansions is unmatched by anything else. Dominion is a deck building game. This one here invented that whole entire genre and probably is still the #1 deck building game out there. Trish likes Terra Mystica more.
I like it more because we just got it, so I'm really enjoying Mystic Vale, not Terra Mystica.
Oh,
I really like Mystic Vale because we just got it, but to be honest, I don't know, Dominion's such a good deck building game, and that I think out of all the games we played, that's the type of game I like the most, is deck building. So Dominion, it is fabulous.
as far as how much we've played it, I
The
mean, just look at
boxes.
this box, and this is just
Yeah.
one of them. Definitely sleeve these cards up because you're going to play
And-
the heck out of these cards.
We take very good care of our games, but just transporting it back and forth to the cottage or in the trailer, it's obviously gotten beat up a bit, but this is a great game. This is actually one of the first games that Keith brought home board game wise that we all started really playing. Before that, we played a lot of like Magic cards and stuff like that, but this was our first real big board game.
Yeah, we probably wouldn't be into board games if it wasn't for Dominion. I actually saw people playing Dominion when I was away for a Magic tournament in San Diego. I think it was like for the national championships, and then we saw people playing Dominion and thought, oh, this is really fun, and tried it out, and actually that kind of steered us more towards playing board games, and it's great for the family. You've been sitting there for a while. What do you think of Dominion?
It's one of the better deck building games. It was in my top 10. I really like it. There's tons of replay value.
Jackson started playing this game like just before he was really reading. Like,
we actually taught him how to count and do basic math when he was just learning to count to 10. We were playing games at Dominion to teach him how to add up and count.
We would do basic games with him, maybe not do the full shop cards, full amount of cards in the shop. We would do like maybe half the amount. And this was a great game. Like, he picked this game up. I think you were probably like 4 years old when we first played Dominion with Jackson.
Probably why he beats us all the time. He's been playing since he's 4.
And I feel like Dominion's also one of those really good games that you can play with a couple or another family that isn't really into big games like board games, because again, it's not hard to teach, and I feel like it is easy to learn. Like, we played that with my parents quite a bit, and they quite enjoyed it. My dad really liked it.
So check out Dominion. I would definitely recommend you get at least a couple expansions. Start with like Seaside.
Seaside's really good. I actually just recommended Seaside to someone else the other day when I was in a gaming store.
So check out Dominion. So our last game is the number 1 on our top 10 list, but the interesting thing about this is actually that none of us ranked it as our number 1. Jackson had Root
First.
Trish had Mystic Veil, and I had Aeon Zen. And this game here, it was more that none of us rated it low, and we all rated it high enough. It just ended up being the number 1 in our average. In the game...
What is the game? I don't even remember.
It's Sight.
Oh, right!
So this is definitely an expensive game. It's definitely a heavy game. It's not that heavy, but it's rated as a fairly complex game. It's 1 to 5 players. There's an expansion that can take it up to 6 or 7, I believe. And it is kind of like a territory control game where you each will get different boards that specialize in different things. And you go out and get resources, and with those resources you buy mechs. The theming of this game is fantastic.
So good.
The theming is that this is, in the like 1920s or something like that. But technology was much more advanced, and it's kind of a post-apocalyptic era where you get these giant mechs roaming ancient country fields and countrysides. I love that theme. It's so cool. Yeah. The mechs are a really neat idea. The kids love the mechs. I don't know. What do you guys think?
It reminds me of some of the books I've read, just that, the world has basically fallen apart, and now we need to rebuild, we need to reconquer, and take over control of certain areas, different governments coming in, and honestly the theme of this game is so cool. That's why I think I like it. I like the look of it. I like the map idea. It's almost like an improved, higher level Risk. Like, I don't know if that's right or not.
And it's funny because you think that there'd be maybe a lot of fighting with mechs and everything like that, but surprisingly there's not that much actual combat. So as far as like gotcha moments and teaming up on people and the frustrations that can come from a game like Risk, this game's kind of solved it. And
true.
It's really, really good for that. What do you think, Jack?
But it still does hold those moments when you look up at the board and you see 5 mechs rushing towards you.
Yeah, just circling just outside your territory.
Yeah. And you're like, no.
Yeah. But so this is a fantastic game. I think you definitely need a play group who are well versed in board games that go a little further than Risk and Monopoly. But once you've transitioned them into a game like Splendor or like Galaxy Trucker or something like that, you could try pulling out Scythe in your next board game.
The other thing about this game, it is expensive, but the other thing about this game that we really like is that it's 1 to 5, and we're a family of 5. So any games that go up to 5 players is ideal for us. Like I always try to look for a game that's 5 players, and I'm like, yes, bonus 5-player game. The other thing about this is there is an expansion that it can go up to 7 players. So we've actually had game nights where we've had 7 players playing this, and our other friends have the giant expansion board that literally takes up 2 tables, and the map is gigantic. It's actually fun to play with.
Yeah. Now that being said, for something that's 7 players and a lot like Risk, it doesn't take 6 hours to
No.
play a game. You're looking at probably for like a 4-player game, you're looking at about an hour to an hour and a half if everyone knows how to play. And it's because your decisions on each turn are actually fairly quick, and you can think about them and execute them kind of while the other person's finishing their turn, depending on what they did. So, if they're just getting resources, you can just build your mech, and the next person can go and they can recruit a spy. So it's actually fairly easy to fire around a whole bunch of turns fairly quickly, and even at a 7-player game, I think it was only maybe about 2 to 2.5 hours, and that was with people who was their first time playing. So
Right.
it's definitely, for as complex as it is, it actually doesn't take that long to play or explain. It's kind of like a medium to heavy.
And it probably ended up all like even, like close to the top 10, like in the top 10, closer to number 1 for all of us, because even our other 2 sons, William and Ben, they actually really enjoyed playing this, and they both will play board games with the 3 of us, but they're the ones that don't want to play as often. And Scythe is actually one of the ones that they
like.
all liked.
Yeah.
They all really enjoyed it.
Yeah, for sure. So check out Scythe. It's a little bit of money, but it's number 1 on our top 10 list.
Christmas shopping. Christmas is coming.
So that's our top 10 board games plus 5 honorable mentions. We'll go into a little more depth on each game in another video. We'll probably do some sit down and play sessions. So if you want to see any of these games played, check out our videos on our channel, and over time we'll add those in, and you guys can actually watch us play these, and then you can decide then if it's something that you want to buy. We'll leave you with each of our individual top 10 lists, and I guess there's only one that wasn't mentioned here at all, and that was that I put Small World in my top 10. I think that's a great, fun game. We didn't really talk about it here. I won't talk about it because we'll just kind of go from there.
Thanks for joining us on game night.
Good.